AXIOMA, the 72-meter super yacht. Look at us, solid as a rock. One of the most spectacular parts of the yacht. I was equally impressed though when I looked up, and it's very, very impressive. We need to start once again from the very top. AXIOMA, the 72-meter super yacht that's been featured a lot in the yachting press. Already she's stunned charter guests with the beauty of her design and her incredible features, and now she's available for sale. So I've come here to show you through the entire vessel in some detail, and I very quickly learned that some of her features are best shown from above. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. A thorough deck-by-deck review of this incredible yacht, starting with the sun deck and ending in the tank deck, which when you see it will leave you quite speechless. First though, let me tell you about AXIOMA's basic dimensions. 72 meters in length, so that's 236 feet. She has a beam of 12.2 meters or 40 feet and 4 inches, a draft of 3.75 meters, 9 feet and 11 inches, and her range at 12.5 knots is about 3,500 nautical miles. She was delivered in 2013 by Dunya Yachts, and in early 2025 went through an extensive shipyard period to overhaul her mechanical systems, renew many of her features, and completely repaint the hull and the superstructure. Let's get back to the tour of the yacht though, starting at the very top, where the sun deck offers a very private area for sunbathing and socializing. There's a simple bar area here too, so that a cold beer or glass of chilled wine is never too far away. And I have to say that I really loved the fact that to access this area you have to pass through a corridor in the middle of the radar mast. Inside the mast structure we find a dayhead to starboard and a shower to port. When I said that the yacht is best appreciated from above though, you'll see what I mean when you walk back through that corridor and see the upper deck from above. An inviting plunge pool taking pride of place, surrounded by sunbathing cushions and with another bar lying directly in front. I could see guests enjoying a crafty cocktail here while they watch their kids splash about in the tub. That's the kind of family relaxation I think most folk dream of enjoying. And if you're balancing a life of kids, cocktails and cardio, you'll be happy to hear that beyond those vast tinted windows lies a very impressive gymnasium, offering not just great views of the plunge pool and scenery, but also fantastic techno gym equipment that I have to say every time I see on a yacht, which is often, I'm impressed with the elegance of design as well as the quality of the equipment. Exercise, of course, is all about quality of life. And another activity, if you can call it that increased quality of life is a good massage. Lying directly behind the gym, in fact, is a wonderful, dedicated massage room, complete with a large shower that has to be the perfect way to end your gym routine. Well, from here we could keep going forward and straight on into the bridge, but to be honest, I'd rather show you the crew areas and the technical areas of the yacht a little bit later, because they really are quite fascinating to see. For now, let's finish the tour of the guest areas by looking down here. Past this crystal elevator that actually passes through 4 of the yacht's 6 decks and down to the upper deck, which in my opinion is one of the most spectacular parts of the yacht. And if you're the owner of the yacht, at this point you might want to go along there to your apartments. I call this area an apartment because it truly is so much more than an owner's stateroom. The study area is larger than some studio apartments I've seen in Monaco, and of course far more beautifully appointed. The Alberto Pinto design, unmistakable, with its sharp geometric shapes, curved surfaces and contrasting colours. That desk, it's quite magnificent. Becoming of a 236-foot superyacht, the cabinetry is immaculate, and this is only the start. The stateroom itself can be accessed either through the bathroom or through a corridor. We'll go in one way and out the other, and at the end of that corridor, if you turn left, you will find a very sizable walk-in closet. Actually, the word closet just doesn't do justice to this area that should satisfy the requirements of the most demanding of owners. Out from the changing room, and this door leads to a small head that has obvious practical advantages. And then we reach the stateroom itself. Positioned on the upper deck, surrounded by windows, this is absolutely magnificent. Let's move on though and exit through the owner's bathroom. Fresh blue marbles are exalted by sombre varnished renge wood. A large hot tub and spacious shower look out over magnificent seascapes, and the entire area exudes tranquility. What an amazing owner's bathroom and an amazing apartment this is. But it's not finished there, not even close. Moving aft from the owner's apartment, we find a dayhead close to the elevator, and then this sensational sky lounge that leads out to a simply magnificent upper aft deck. So sensational, so magnificent that I'm going to shut up and let the images do the talking. Well, I did say that some of the features on this yacht are best seen from above, didn't I? And this Atrium is a great example of just that. I'm pretty sure that this was the first super yacht ever to be built with this feature, and it's certainly something that AXIOMA is well known for. I was equally impressed though when I looked up and saw that amazing relief on the ceiling and the intricate work that has gone into the ceiling itself. And that brings us to the main deck level. But before we take a look at the Atrium, I'd like to bring you down the stairs past that elevator again and move forward toward the guest accommodation. There's a real sense of occasion as you arrive at this part of the yacht. AXIOMA has been hugely popular on the charter market this year, and it's easy to see why. Twin staterooms light a port and starboard as you walk along the corridor. The two doors that you see here are for storage, and then we have two double staterooms. At the end of the corridor lies this sensational VIP suite. Again, words seem superfluous here, so just relax and enjoy the beauty of the design of this part of the yacht. Moving aft from the guest accommodation, and once again we find a dayhead close to the elevator in the lobby. And then a magnificent formal dining room. I've said it many times in these videos that it's easy to assume that you always eat outside on a yacht so that you can enjoy the sunshine. And generally speaking, that's true. But when the weather's cold or the wind is blowing, or simply if you need to have a business meeting on board, this is a valuable area to have on your yacht. And from the dining room, you can retreat to the main deck salon, and I have to say that the Atrium is as noticeable from this level as it is from the Sky Lounge. To say that it opens the area up is an understatement. It must be a wonderful area to spend time with friends and family after you've spent time in the pool, because yes, AXIOMA has an infinity pool on the aft deck too, making this an absolutely extraordinary yacht with an extraordinary layout. And after a day of working out in the gym while the kids play in the tub, massages, fine dining, swimming in the pool and cocktails with friends, you may want to relax watching your favourite YouTubers. So what better way to do that than in the yacht's amazing 8-person cinema room. Well, that just about wraps it up as far as the guest areas are concerned, and we haven't even started to look yet at the crew areas and the technical spaces. So to have a proper thorough look at those areas, we need to start once again from the very top. Now you may think I've been zapped to the wrong area because I'm on the sun deck, which apparently has nothing to do with crew spaces or technical areas. But actually I wanted to start here because in effect there's a second stairwell here which is for the crew, in addition to the main one that you saw earlier, and this is very useful indeed. Actually, I say it's for the crew. One of the crew members corrected me and said that guests use that stairwell all the time, but I think the original design was to be used by crew because you have technical storage area there for the crew and access to the bridge through here. Before you even get to the bridge, actually, there's a day head just here. Then the captain's office here, which is really nicely equipped actually. Apart from his computer equipment, his printer, there's a few navigational comms equipment, there's his books, his various folders that he needs for the certification for the yacht. And then, of course, you get through to the bridge itself, which is really beautifully laid out. The yacht originally, when it was launched, was called Red Square, which I guess is why you've got the red colours throughout the yacht. And I particularly liked earlier in the day, the yacht was doing some manoeuvring, the captain was doing some manoeuvring, and he was showing me the generators here, how you can read how much power is being drawn from each generator on this screen here. And I was impressed that there are actually 4 generators plus an emergency generator too. It's a very traditional propulsion system on AXIOMA. They're straight inline shafts and propellers, no diesel electric, nothing really fancy, just traditional reliable systems with very, very clear instrumentation. The other thing actually that I really liked in the bridge, which is far less technical I have to say, were these little cutouts. I thought they were to put your battery charger in and the cables out, but they're not at all. Have a look in there, Atrium. They're actually to store proper full-sized maps, with of course this table being plenty big enough to do your chart reading on top of. Moving a little bit further aft, you'd normally expect the captain's cabin to be over on that side, and it is. It's just that the door isn't in the bridge. The door to the captain's cabin is found here. Nice sized captain's cabin, and then as you move a little bit further aft, you'll see that the captain's office is not the only office, because we have a second office with an officer here. And I think originally this area was really used for refrigeration. There's a temperature controlled wine fridge there as well, but it became a very handy area as well for the chief officer, correct?
That's correct.
To get some work done. He's got his computer screens there too. That can either be completely converted into a full-sized office or put back as it originally was for the wine storage. Let's take a look at the next deck down. So now we've just gone from the bridge deck to the upper deck, which I noticed is also called the owner's deck. And the first thing that I noticed here was a second elevator. This is a service elevator that goes all the way down to the bilge of the yacht, which we'll see later. There's all kinds of supplies and things which can be brought up in the service elevator. I'm told you can even fit 2 people in there, through to the butler's pantry through there, fresh food prepared, and then straight on into the Sky Lounge to serve the guests. Let's take a look though at the main deck. So from the upper deck to the main deck, and in some respects this is a repetition of the previous deck, in as much as we have the service elevator once again, the butler's pantry there too, access there to be able to serve people in the main salon, but additionally access here. This is actually a fire door, And behind that fire door, there's access as well to the guest accommodation, again making it easier for the crew to be able to get from the crew quarters with the service elevator through to the guest accommodation, get linen, get washing done and such like. The yacht's really been thought out for good service on the part of the crew to be able to move easily throughout the yacht. And now we get to the area where the crew will spend a lot of their time, and that's in the crew quarters. And the first thing that you see when you get down into the crew quarters is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of the yacht, and that's the galley. And what an amazing galley this is. Quite a few of the things that you can see here are brand new. New ovens, new dishwasher, new flooring actually as well. And speaking with a chef and also other chefs on other yachts, they often appreciate this stainless steel finishing, which is so much easier and more practical to keep clean. And after all, it's the kind of finishing that you see in proper kitchens of proper high-end restaurants. It's a wonderful space, and from what I hear, a very functional place too, where they've been able to serve amazing food to many, many people. And from the galley, we have direct access to the crew mess, which is a very comfortable area. Actually, my crew and the yacht's crew were all eating here at lunchtime. Lovely, comfortable spot. Fantastic food as well, I have to say. And it's a nice social area. There's a television here. They can still see everything they need to see on the CCTV, which, by the way, was also renewed quite recently. That's a far higher resolution image than you'd normally get on a CCTV on a yacht or a shop or just about anywhere else. But this is not the only crew mess, because just through here we have the officers' mess, which also gives the officers on board a nice space to be able to relax, chat with each other. And also, I think anyway, it's good to have two separate eating areas for the crew on the yacht, so they don't always get on top of each other all the time. What about their sleeping arrangements though? Let's take a look. You can see from the general arrangement plan of the yacht that a big portion of the below deck area is in fact dedicated to the crew, as it should be on a yacht of this size. Here we have 10 crew cabins in total, each one with their own head. Of course, the captain's cabin is just behind the bridge. It's a nice, decent living area for a crew of this size, and you haven't seen anything yet, because below us there's a whole other deck. The crew actually call this the tank top deck, and I said, why, is there a top deck and a bottom deck? And they said, no, it's access to the tops of the tanks from this deck. But it's access to a lot more than that too. Through there's a beautiful laundry area with 2 large washers, 2 large dryers, 2 small washers, 2 dryers, space for doing the laundry and the ironing as well, which must be so useful on a yacht of this size. Then moving further along here, mind the step. This hatch that you can see here, and there's one again on the other side, is actually access to the stabilizer room. So for the service on the stabilizers, anything that you need to do, you can actually open that up and get right in there. Through here we have a walk-in fridge, and if you go to the back of the walk-in fridge, there's also a walk-in freezer. So there's lots and lots of space for fresh fruit and vegetables through there, as well as your frozen goods as well, of course. Another refrigerator here. Dry storage here, and lots of dry storage as well. I mean, remember that if you own the yacht, you may well be going away with a lot of your friends for 3-4 weeks or more, or if you charter the yacht, you need to have plenty of stores on board for the guests. There is the space here to accommodate that. Moving along just a little bit further, and we find it again, that service elevator, and now you can see what I was talking about when I said about the functionality of the yacht and be able to move through it, because you can get the dry stores, the fresh food from there into the service elevator up to any one of the decks that you need to give service at. Absolutely superb layout. And then finally, through the door that's just behind our cameraman Atrium there, you have an area with storage and a lot of the machinery too that goes to running all the refrigeration that's on board. I do know though that one of the things that everybody wants to see the most is the engine room. So now we're going to take a look at that, and let me tell you, you will not be disappointed. Well, access to the engine room is located in between those two crew messes that you saw earlier, and it's very, very impressive. This is a sensational two-tiered air-conditioned engine room that once again looks so good from above. Looking down at those two Caterpillar engines, seeing the workstation on the opposite bulkhead, the machinery that includes water-making capability of 30,000 litres a day, it is an impressive space for an equally impressive yacht. Something that I haven't mentioned is that AXIOMA also benefits from a vast toy storage area in a garage with two opening shell doors. There is plenty of space here for tenders, jet skis, dive equipment, water sports equipment. They've even included a guest bathroom and shower here, along with a bosun's locker for more storage. So what are my takeaways from this yacht? Well, she's pretty obviously a very beautiful vessel. You can see that for yourself. What I want to do is tell you about a couple of comments that the crew made, which were very telling. Bear in mind that AXIOMA has been a very busy charter yacht with back-to-back charters and now a film crew on board as well for the crew to look after. And this will end up being a 3-day shoot because we had some adverse weather conditions too. And yet they were so enthusiastic about the yacht. They really seemed to love this vessel. At one point we had quite a swell in the sea, and one of the crew looked out and he said to me, "Look at that other yacht over there, look at the way it's rolling." And then he sat down and then said, "Look at us, solid as a rock." He said, "These stabilizers are fantastic." Another crew member spoke very favorably about the layout and the easy access that crew have from one part of the yacht to another to give great service to the guests on board. It really is a fantastic vessel, and it's a fantastic vessel that's now available for sale. So if you are a qualified buyer, do contact my friend and colleague Richard.Higgins, who can arrange it for you to actually view the yacht for yourself and answer any questions that you have. And actually, even if you're not a qualified buyer and you have some questions about the yacht, do ask me in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them for you.